Would you like to live a more awesome life? Join hypnotist Jim Kellner as he explores tips, tricks, and strategies to help you and he live a more awesome life right now on Exploring Awesome.
Hello and welcome to Exploring Awesome. I'm your host, of course, hypnotist Jim Kellner. I thank you for taking the time to listen to this. This show is all about living an awesome life. And so I bring on guests each episode. They're going to share their tips for living a more awesome life. And I always bring on people that are already living an awesome life. And today, the person I brought on is a good friend of mine. She's a colleague. Today, I'm talking to the Law of Attraction Hypnotist, Victoria M. Gallagher. Hey, Victoria.
Hey, Jim. It's so great to be on your show. Awesome.
Yeah, awesome. Great.
Exploring awesome.
So I gave you, so the Law of Attraction Hypnotist is like such a brief little bit about who Victoria is. I mean, we were just talking earlier, I'm amazed at the amount of content and products and just everything that she puts out in the world. She's an amazing woman, an amazing hypnotist. And look at this, we got her book here, The Practical Law of Attraction. She's also got the HypnoCloud app, which I just listened to last night. I listened to it frequently, really good stuff. And she's got a ton of videos. She does a podcast. I mean, she teaches at conventions. So really go follow her. You'll find her information, her links, as we call it, social media links and everything in the notes. But I'll give you a couple right now. LOA Hypnotist on Clubhouse and LOA Hypnotist on TikTok. And HipTalk, HYPTALK on YouTube and Instagram. It's Victoria M. Gallagher. Victoria, how's your day going?
It's going great. Today has been like, when I'm in a high productivity mode, which today was like, and I check off all of my to-dos, which I did today, I'm like super happy. Like that makes me the happiest, really just. So it's been a good day. How's your day going?
Really well. I had some frustrations with the new podcast, but it's good. It's going to be good. So for those of you that are longtime listeners, all two of you, we're doing things a little bit differently. So I'm going to talk with Victoria for a little bit. Then we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to get listener questions. And if you have questions, I'm going to give you a number in a little bit to text me, and I'll answer them on the next show. We're not recording live today, but I will answer those later. And you can do the same thing for Victoria. Just send me a quick question, and I'll ask Victoria, and she'll get back to us. We're gonna get 3 tips for living an awesome life from Victoria later, and then we're gonna play a new game on the show. It's called Friend or Frenemy. That's right. I'm going to ask Victoria a very, very important question, and her answer will decide whether we are friends or frenemies. Are you ready, Victoria?
I'm ready. I am ready. I hope I get the answer right.
Oh, I hope so too. So many people get this answer wrong. They get it wrong. Victoria, so I know your story, and we've talked about it before, but can you just give us a quick rundown of Victoria M. Gallagher?
Absolutely. So, I got into this business, for those of you who don't know my story or my background, I used to be a financial consultant for about 6 years, and before that, I had been in that industry. And so completely, obviously different kind of, industry, making cold calls, helping people invest their money. And I was just, high powered, wearing, suits to work every day and driving a nice car, living in a nice home. I was like living the life, of luxury, really, at like 28 years old. And you'd think that that would have brought me all kinds of happiness and satisfaction and fulfillment. And it wasn't. I was not feeling very passionate about life and everything that I had built up, because I was following along the footsteps of what I thought that I was, supposed to do. And so that led me to personal development, and personal development kind of led me into becoming a hypnotist. And what I decided at that time when I went through that personal development class is that I wanted to create this empire of personal development, hypnosis programs, meditations, visualizations, affirmations, anything that could really help a person who might be in that kind of stuck, unfulfilled, unpassionate state to get to that feeling, to that inspiration, to that passion. And so I set out to do that. And, in setting out to do that, I was given an ultimatum by my boss that I had to basically make a decision within 30 days. And this was, this was, I just at the beginning stages of building my business. I was literally had more expenses going out, building the business, marketing, office space, website, production, all of that stuff than I had any income coming in. But all that, and I was having to walk away from a 6-figure income, that I was used to, and had lots of bills to keep up with that, 6-figure income. And so I chose to walk away and pursue my passion, because I just felt like it's not worth it to work a job that I don't feel passionate about. And I'd already been pretty well invested emotionally in every which way. I had Yellow Pages ads. I had an office space leased out already. I was pretty invested in this, so I just took a risk and I took a chance. And that was 22 years ago. And guess what? I'm still doing the same thing. So I think I made the right decision.
That's awesome. But how scary that must have been. I mean, so 6 figures. We're talking 22 years ago. That was even more money than it is today. A lot of people would be happy with 6 figures today.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's kind of the point. That was a lot of money for a 28-year-old with no college education, and, just no job, really, no no income coming in to walk away from. And, and I just had my first taste of law of attraction, manifesting, and how it works. And so at that time I told myself I'm just going to manifest I'm just going to manifest the money. And what's
yeah.
And the thing is that I truly believed in that at that time. But I hadn't really integrated that into my being yet. And that, it is such an important thing for people to understand, is that I was just a baby in the, law of attraction and manifesting space. And so many people, they could have just done what I did. And then a month or 2 months or 3 months or 6 months later, when everything's falling apart the way it did for me, just throw in the towel and give up on it and say, this stuff doesn't work. And what I at least had the wherewithal to know and understand, because I understood that there was this thing called the subconscious mind that contains all your programs. And I didn't realize that I didn't have it integrated yet. And so it took me some time of, really just slamming myself up against a wall multiple times of, working 16 hours a day for a year and realizing that doesn't work. And, it doesn't work unless, it doesn't outdo the power of the subconscious mind. You cannot outwit the power of the subconscious mind with, just working hard. And so I kind of realized I had to take a step back about a year into failing at my business. I had to really take a step back and realize, maybe I should go back and start reprogramming my mind for success I had been doing that led me to take that risk. I couldn't have taken that risk if I didn't have some sort of base of programming, but I didn't have it all the way, and so I had to go back and really start to listen to the hypnosis sessions and do the work and really just get it integrated into me. And so that's a really important lesson that I learned, and that I think I don't know if a lot of people really have the opportunity to learn that lesson exactly like that, where I was like really in the deep end and like sink or swim.
So you said something there that just reminded me of something I was reading in the book. If I can find it now. Shoot. Well, anyway, so you talked about this working 16 hours a day, and in your book you talk about that, that kind of that reaching that burnout level, and you said some stuff about that, and I thought that was really interesting because I've noticed that with myself. Sometimes I'm just, and the problem is I really want to do the work too, in a way, because there's a lot of satisfaction and everything. But then I neglect the self-care, and I'm no longer really living the life that I would propose for other people to live. I'm not meditating, I'm not exercising, I'm not, having fun. I'm just working.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. That absolutely happens, where with people in this industry or as entrepreneurs, I think it's just this mental programming that sometimes we just get to where you just get kind of caught up in the whole inertia of having to, because we're passionate about what we do. We're extremely passionate about what we do, but then I think too much of a good thing, or can be bad for you. And it doesn't matter how good it is. I mean, if you just only ate apples all day long and to the exclusion of everything else, then there's going to be something bad about that. So even if you're extremely passionate about what you do, if you just continue to throw yourself into your work all the time and don't make that balance time for exercise and meditation and all the things, then you can definitely risk getting burnt out.
Yeah, I think it's interesting too, because the more I do that, I feel like, so what I finally realized was the more that I push myself to do more, sort of the less I kind of accomplish overall. Like I find that I think that oftentimes I'm rushing through things. Like I was talking to you about the podcast earlier. Before, when I did the podcast, if anybody listens to the seasons 1 through 6, I was always in such a hurry to just get it done and get it out. And I wasn't really taking time because I had to get to that next task. And now I decided this year that I need to slow down and just take my time with things. That's really tough because I'm really very much a go-getter. Let's just go get this. Let's just go do it. So now I think that either way, we've got people. You probably run in this too, other hypnotists and entrepreneurs that I'm trying to coach all the time. Hey, get out there and do this work if you want to do it. Quit sitting on your hands. But then there's got to be a happy medium because I'm more like just keep going. Where I need to slow down a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, really, and I got to say again, there's so many good things in this book. I highly recommend it. What are the 2 new books?
Oh, okay. So so my most recent book is How to Manifest. It's hard to know where to point with these things.
Right.
How to Manifest Your Soulmate using the Law of Attraction, and then I just put it out of view a little bit there. Where is it? Anyway, my Ultimate Weight Loss Power, which is like it's a hypnotherapy script book for hypnotherapists, and so I released that. It's been about like 1 book a year since Practical Law of Attraction came out in I want to say 2018 or 2009. Yeah, I can't remember how long ago it is, but it's been like 3 years. Yeah. And then I released the Ultimate Weight Loss Power, and then earlier this year I released How to Manifest Your Soulmate. So these are all like topics that are very near and dear to my heart, because I've been able to manifest my soulmate, and there was like a whole tragic drama, story, not tragic, but, it's a very dramatic, back and forth kind of love story with my husband, and, really taught me a lot. And then of course the weight loss, that's just been something that, I've been working on my whole life. And, working with a lot of weight loss clients, back when I was first starting my business, I had to kind of create a process that I would, take them through. Like it was like a 10-week program, because, I learned just for myself, that there's a balance when it comes to this whole weight loss thing. Usually there's multiple things that a person needs to work on when it comes to, and a lot of it really, comes down to these basic habits. And so that's what that book's all about, is it gives you the whole system. It gives us a hypnotherapist the entire system on what they would need to do to even start a hypnotherapy business. But if you want to just specialize in weight loss, it gives you that whole system, and and helps you with the whole process.
That's great. That's great. Do you want to share any of this, the love story?
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah. So my husband and I, we met on Match.com, back in 2004. And, we had I'll give you a little bit of the shorter version. So we had a little bit of a back and forth relationship where, we met in Las Vegas. We decided to move to Virginia, and then we moved from Virginia to Florida. And we kind of had like this back and forth thing where we got engaged, we got unengaged. And, after I saw the movie The Secret, I'd already been very familiar with the Law of Attraction. I started learning about the Law of Attraction like back in the late 80s, right out of high school. And, but I didn't really keep up with it. And The Secret just kind of re-inspired and reignited that spark in me again. It's like, oh yeah, there is that thing, the Law of Attraction. Let me try that. Let me work with this. And so I started like visualizing us getting married. And then one day, this was like in January of 2007, I started visualizing us getting married, and I created a vision board and everything. And I told myself that we would be married, we would get engaged by May of that year. And so by March of that year, like a couple months into this, he randomly comes up to me, and he doesn't propose. He says, we're never getting married.
Oh.
And yeah. And he basically says that, it's just not for him, and he doesn't see, that himself getting motivated at all to ever make that happen. So I'm like, okay. And I walked away from the relationship, and I just, I said, this isn't what I want. It's not going in the direction I want. And I just kind of really, at that point, I was so high. My vibration and my frequency was like so high and so trusting. And so like, I just know that there's a reason for this. And I just, I made up the reason was that the universe is just getting him out of the way so that I could find the one that I would eventually get engaged to. That's the story that I made up in my, in my head about it, And so, so I just continued with my visualizations and every day, just, really meditating on it, but just not with his face in the picture, just a completely blank person, a spirit. And so I would just every day, I would just like imagine us, in different scenarios and all of that. And I was just really working on myself. I completely just told myself I'm not going to call him, I'm not going to date anybody at all, because I'm too vulnerable at this point. I don't want to get myself caught up in any kind of thing that's going to put me in a vulnerable state, started really working on my body. I started just working on reading every day and just really getting myself into a high vibe. And I gave myself like this 90 days, for 90 days, I couldn't drink. For 90 days, I couldn't go out on a date with anybody, like anything that was going to put me in a vulnerable space, I couldn't do. And so we're at about day 85-ish. And I was looking good. I was feeling good. I was getting over things. I was doing really, really well. And I decided to go out one night for karaoke, and his car was parked at in the parking lot where I wanted to go. And like karaoke was like my thing, like, so like I would never have anticipated that, I was going to run into him by going out and doing this. This was just something I like to do. So I see his car there, and I'm like hemming and hawing, like, should I go in? Should I not? So I work up the courage and I go in, and he's singing With or Without You on stage when I walk in. And he comes over to me, and he starts kind of like telling me that he misses me and wants to get together. So we get together, and a week later he proposed to me on the beach. He told me to meet him, and he told me basically that he, why, things were the way that they were, and what he learned during our time apart. And that happened to be May, 24th of 2007. So I said, dates are not usually something that I advocate too much for people, but for that particular scenario, when I said by the end of May, somehow or another, it worked out that we were engaged by the end of May, which is crazy. But it completely happened based on law of detachment. It completely happened when I let go. Like I had been stressing for so long about us getting engaged and getting married that when I finally let go of it, that's when it happened.
That's awesome. What a great story.
Thank you. Thank you.
You said the law of detachment. Yeah.
Yeah, which I think that may be the title of my next book.
Cool. So, expert in many laws. So, Victoria, as we've talked about some stuff off air, and I still want to get back to a few of the things that we had talked about regarding just you as your career kind of took off. I'm wondering, like, as a kid, were you a big risk taker?
That's an interesting question. Where was I a risk? I would say kind of was. I was the kind of person that, I would try out for things. I didn't, I tried out for cheerleading. I think that's kind of a risk for somebody who was at my level of popularity at the time, which was nil.
Hard to believe.
So, I would get up. I was the kind of person who would get up on stage and sing, and I always tried out for the solos, and I dressed a little weird, and so I definitely took some risks as a kid. I never really asked myself that before, but it does actually make sense that I was a little bit of a risk taker.
Gotcha. Now, so we've seen where that really helped you a lot. Have there been times when you can look back and go, oh man, maybe I shouldn't have taken that risk, or has it all kind of worked out harmoniously?
I would say sometimes I would look back after I took a risk and regret it. And then the longer I go out though, the further, the further out you go, the more you realize that you needed to take that risk. And so sometimes risks, they don't work out initially, but then it all wraps itself up in the grand plan, I believe.
I think you're right. I've thought about that for myself, and that's why I kind of wondered with you. I wasn't much of a risk taker when I was a kid. I was very shy and very scared of everything, and so it was kind of a transformation for me. But I know when it's such a great when they talk about the biggest regrets are those risks we didn't take, those chances we didn't take. And we have stories like that, and everybody tells us that, but we still have people out there that are still afraid to take that risk. I mean, what would you say to them? I mean, they're just so many. I mean, people in our field, and I specifically. So I work with a lot of beginning hypnotists, people that are like wannabe hypnotists that don't, or entrepreneurs in general, that they just can't seem to. They can't seem to get themselves launched out there. But we also see this with, the person who doesn't want to ask out the person that they're interested in, or they're afraid to ask for a new job or a raise or something. Can you give them any advice at all?
Here's the thing is we can fail at doing things that we're not even really passionate about. So we might as well, you know what I'm saying? Like you can fail at what you're doing right now and staying in your comfort zone. You can fail at that. There's no guarantees, and everything in life changes, and there's no such thing as permanency. As a matter of fact, I mean, over the last couple of years, we've learned there's there's always an evolution of things. Everything is changing. Your body is changing. You're not the same person. So I just say, because of that, like, you don't really have anything to lose by going after what you really want. And yeah, I mean, I 100% echo what you said, that the biggest regrets that people have on their deathbed is that they didn't take the risks that they should have taken. So I would rather take the risk and fail at that risk that I took than succeed at something that I'm not, really happy about, or that I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not, that's not bringing me. I mean, and I took that, like that was me. Like I almost failed. I could have failed if I stopped, at that exact thing. So I'm always going to tell somebody, just go for it. And, if your dreams are important enough to you, you will find a way. You will find a way to make whatever you want to happen.
Absolutely. Everybody hold on for just 1 second. We'll be right back. I'm going to ask Victoria a follow-up on that. And we're back. So Victoria, so along those lines, so if you could rewind a little bit, and let's just say, what if you had listened? Because I believe it was, according to your book and what I've heard, is the boss said, look, you quit this side hustle or you're fired. And you said goodbye to the boss. Yeah. Can you rewind? Can you imagine how things might have been if you were still at the stockbroker type job?
So to kind of wrap that up a little bit, part of why I ended up going to that personal development seminar was because I was having trouble, like, just getting out of bed in the morning anymore. Like, I was, so accustomed to getting up at 4 a.m., being excited. Like, I was super excited about this job for many years. Like, I was so grateful. I was so like, wow, I really felt like for a time, like, this was my dream job. And so for me to find myself not able to get up at 4 a.m., or 5 or 6 or 7, and then it became 8 and 9 and 10. Like, I was like literally laying in bed at 10 a.m. when I'm supposed to be sitting at my desk making cold calls at 6:30, and I just couldn't even do it anymore. So all that to say, had I continued down that path, a couple things would have happened. One, I probably just would have found myself never getting out of bed one day, and maybe just, I mean, I had a tendency toward anxiety and depression. And so I, probably if I would have gone down that road, who knows, maybe I wouldn't even be here, I don't know, like, or maybe I would have toughed it out. Maybe I would have just continue to tough it out, and maybe I'd be retired by now because I'd have like this huge retirement income that I had been, saving up for in the, stock markets, gone through the roof. I had a lot of investments that I had to cash out, when I left that job. So that would have been worth a fortune. But who knows? Maybe, it's really hard to say, but I think that the bottom line is, when you're not true to yourself, that, you get a wake up call at some point, and you just somehow or another, like, you're just almost like not able to do it anymore. Like I think for me, I just hit that wall where I just wasn't even able to do it anymore. Like, there was nothing wrong with that job. It was just like, when you know that you're meant for something else, you just almost can't go in that other direction anymore.
I had a similar experience with a sales job years ago, and I made really good money at it. I was really good at it for a while. And then, I started getting the depression was just too much. I mean, it really was just hard to get up in the morning. And I can't even imagine what it would be like if I were still doing that job. I can't even imagine. I knew there was something else. And I think that many people, they just kind of have this feeling that there's something bigger for them to do. And I don't know if everyone has that. I mean, I think there's plenty of people that are happy in what they're doing, but there's some people out there that really have this calling, this need to do something different with their life. And I want to say bigger, but it's not necessarily bigger because there's no big and small. We're all contributing in some way to society, but just something different, I think.
Yeah. And I'm going to add to that, because this kind of occurs to me that, I think if you're in that place where you are doing something and it's just feeling the lack of passion, that mundane feeling, most people can stay in that situation for a very long time and allow themselves, kind of like the frog out of the water in the boiling water. You've heard that story. And, they're in that place. And I think, I'm just going to, not to like, I think enlightenment though, when you get a little bit more enlightenment by, reading certain books and really, really tapping into, who you are meant to be, it's almost like it becomes that much more painful. You become more painfully aware. So my suggestion is, if you don't want to wake up and feel that pain of your existing reality, stay away from personal development. Because you know what I'm saying? Like really. Going through that awakening, it's like, it was so like, it was just so painful to stay there anymore. But I don't know if I would have felt that pain of staying there if I hadn't woken up to what I was supposed to do. Does that make sense?
It doesn't. And really, I've never even thought about that. That was such a great takeaway there. Really, that's amazing. Love that. And I just literally
just kind of got in touch with that too.
Yeah. Because I think about that, because from being a teenager, I was reading books on personal development and stuff. And I can remember I would listen to, I would be up late at night watching Tony Robbins infomercials, yes. And so on one hand, it helped me at my job because I was, better communicating and more passionate and stuff. But then he was also kind of twisting this feeling like, is this what you really want to do? And that's so, yeah, if I wouldn't have been watching that and doing those things, maybe I would have been just satisfied.
And you know what, Jim? I sometimes, when I introduce people to personal development, I sit there and I pray for them a little bit, because it feels good in the beginning, but then it's like, then you really begin to take on the hard work of being a human, of what you came here to do. And it's not always easy. And so sometimes I feel a little guilty by opening people's eyes and showing them behind the scenes and showing them this whole other world that they,
right.
that they weren't aware of. And it's like, you're going to have to go through a little pain, to get to the good stuff.
Yeah. And, it's a great reminder too, for the would-be entrepreneurs, where I was just talking about the people that can't seem to launch themselves in that thing. And maybe it's better for them just to forget about it. I mean, really, because I have told people.
Great advice.
Really, it's tough. I mean, you really got to want to do it, in the beginning, at least, and some people
get so rewarding.
It is. It really is. It's incredibly rewarding.
But it's like you don't get the rewards with it. Life pays you in direct proportion to the risks that you are willing to take, and
Absolutely.
you get. And so if you don't want big rewards, or if you want big rewards, you got to take big risks.
You do. You really do.
You got to get a little uncomfortable. If you want to feel, it's like this whole law of harmony, if you want to feel the really, really big, good feelings, guess what? They come with the equally opposite bad feelings.
Oh, wow. That's profound right there. It really is. Yeah.
Yeah. Because how can you really compare? It's like we live in this world of duality. Mm-hmm. And so, how do you really know the scorching hot without feeling like the freezing cold?
Mm-hmm. So I realize I'm going to have to put a trigger warning on this podcast in the beginning. Just don't listen to this because it may cause you great pain. As you get into personal development.
It could. It could. I haven't really dived quite this deep into what the truth is, of this whole personal development world, but it's it's a little bit of a rabbit hole. It's a little bit of a rabbit hole. It's a good rabbit hole, but you've got to, it's a roller coaster, and it's going to whip you around and take you on unexpected turns and take you down steep drops, and but when you get off that ride, you're like, I want to go again.
Right. Yeah, it's funny. I think about, I can't even, at this point, I don't even know how I could work for someone else now. I don't know how I could even do that. It'd be very, very challenging, for sure. Very challenging.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I don't know how long have you worked for yourself, Jim?
This last time it's been about 9 years, but I was also, various points, I was a massage therapist and an actor and different things where I was kind of my own boss. And I don't think I was ever really a great employee because
I wasn't either.
Because
I worked, I was a hard worker. I always just got all my work done, but I did not want anybody telling me what to do.
Yeah,
I would get
exactly.
PO'd,
Right.
Even though I work for you, it's like, don't tell me what to do, how to do my job or what to do.
Right.
It's like, what, I'm not cut out for this.
Yeah, exactly. I have done some stuff where I was teaching some classes for an organization, and that was okay, but still, whenever I would do it, I felt like, boy, you know what? This is time that I could be spending on building my business and serving my clients and my people instead I'm doing it. So it was still tough. It was still tough. So be careful, people. Don't do this. Don't do this unless you're brave.
You will ruin yourself. You will render yourself unemployable.
Right. Exactly. So if you, I remember, it's funny. I actually remember a comedian one time, Brett Hamill, doing a joke about this, and he was telling all the comedians, the open micers, the people that were there kind of just getting started. He said, if you can do anything else, don't do this. Don't do this. It's very difficult. If you're employable, just work your job. Just be satisfied with it. So.
That is funny.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of blown away, Victoria. Of all of the stuff that you've done, what's your secret? Do you have a secret? Is it just, it's not 16 hours a day anymore, is it? How do you produce the quantity and the quality of what you do?
So, I mean, I don't know. No, I mean, I'm trying to like put this into like a sweet, concise
Right.
sentence. There's a number of things.
Mhm.
Number one is like, I do actually now, I walk my talk. So I practice what I preach. I get up and I meditate every morning, and that keeps my brain like really, really focused on, what it is that I want to create. Ideas come to me like they're almost almost a bad thing, because I get inundated with so many ideas that I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to create them all. So I just kind of have to let a lot of them go. And so that's the other thing is that I do, I'm in the practice of saying no a lot.
Oh, good.
Because so you have to say no a lot. And, and lately, one of the things that I got very clear on is that what I love to do the most out of everything is I love to create content. And I mean, really, I love to record myself speaking. I mean, I don't think I could ever get sick of that. I love to record myself speaking. And I liked that from a very early age. That was my first toy that I had that I begged for forever. For Christmas, was a little tape recorder. And I didn't know that meant that I was going to become a, hypnotherapy recording artist and make all these YouTube videos and all of that. So I've really now refined it to like, how can I spend all day just doing what I love to do? And what I love to do is I love to, there's a couple of things that go along with doing that. I have to write the scripts, that's my second thing that I love, to do is the writing part. The recording part, I could just do all day. I could have somebody else write the scripts for me, but they need to be written a certain way. They need to be written from my voice and from my, mind. So I have to write these scripts. And writing my books and all of that, so I love the writing. I love the recording. And so I made a list one day. I just said, this is what I do. This is Victoria's jobs. Victoria's jobs are making the recordings, writing the content. This is everybody else's jobs. And I made a list and I said, this is what everybody else does. Everybody else, they create the websites, they do the artwork, they upload the videos, they do the editing, they do the, and so I just made a list of all the things. Now, did that list start off as like just being able to offload all those things all in one day? No, but it's like, what's the thing that's going to probably make the biggest dent in my day so I can do more of what I want to do? And, and so little by little, check this off, this goes to you, this goes to you, this goes to you. And I give people, jobs. Now that isn't a job in and of itself. And then one of the jobs that I would love to be able to offload right now is the management of those people, because, you know what, I didn't get in. That's not my job. I'm not a manager.
Yeah.
I'm a content creator. So I try my best to manage these people, but sometimes they fail me or I don't communicate. Maybe, it comes down. I think, we have to take responsibility for our communication. And so, having all these people out there, it's a painful personal development endeavor, having all these people out there that come back to you with like the job, not exactly how you were hoping it was going to be. And it's a practice in, what am I communicating? This is what I communicated. That's interesting. That's not what I thought I communicated, but I guess that's what I communicated, right? So it's just like it's an act in like improving your communication skills, but it's also an act in production versus perfection. And like being productive, like, okay, so this video, it's not exactly like I said that I wanted it, but it is what it is. It's, somebody's going to get value out of this video, whether this picture's moving, this way or that way, or if I have the right background image in there, you can get caught, like, you got to ask yourself, am I getting caught up in the wrong stuff, being a perfectionist. So it's like another little endeavor in personal development. All of this is. So don't ever feel like, at any level, your problems are not going to be completely resolved. You know what I mean? You're always going to have, and you never know what other people are dealing with. Even the like multi-million-dollar, people, I mean, they probably, like you were saying, the IBM probably not really paying too much attention to what's happening on YouTube. Right. But, at different levels, you're going to have different levels of things that you're working on. So there's always going to be something, and you just have to kind of approach it from a take responsibility attitude, and, like, realize, like, hey, you know what? I get to do this. This is a pretty cool position that I get to be in. And so I have to circle back to just being grateful for, that I get to do what I love. It's like, so yeah, I've got to deal with some, people that don't follow instructions most of the time, but but that's just that's an area, that's a blind spot for me to work on right now. I'm just being vulnerable. Like, I'm working on that right now. And now I've got some serious awareness on it. And now that I've got the awareness on it, I can, I'm correcting that.
I got to say, if you're watching this and you're listening to this, and I appreciate the vulnerability, I do want to say that when you talk about at the level that at different levels, the challenges are different, because I know, based on the class that you taught and the handout that you gave out, that you are outsourcing a lot of stuff. I know the one where the audios, you send them to, it was this whole flow chart of stuff, and I was like, oh, that's amazing. You mean I don't have to sit there and clean up the audio and create the thumbnail and all these? I mean, blown away. And that's definitely an area for me to make improvements on too, to outsource, because that's what I was saying. The president of IBM is probably not too worried about, I'm not concerned about it, not thinking about what's going on YouTube and these kind of things. And so I got to say too, this is applicable to everyone, not just content creators. Because here's the thing: I remember I was working with a client one time. He was a stay-at-home dad. He was also had a part-time job, a couple of part-time jobs. Was an artist, an actor, and was having a lot of struggle keeping up with exercise and eating right because of all these other things. And it just occurred to me. I just said, "Have you ever considered getting a housekeeper for a few hours a week?" And he goes, "Am I at the level of having a housekeeper?" And I was like, I don't know. Are you? I mean, I don't know how much it costs. I know I'd seen some ads before for, $30, $40 an hour. And I said, I mean, would it be worth it to have somebody come in and do that? And he decided, yeah, it would be worth it to delegate some of those things he didn't want to do, to be able to spend more time on that. And I remember too, like just in the past few years, I used to always have to work on my own cars. And I hate working on cars. And I remember this girl I was dating one time. She was like, "Why do you always try to fix your own car?" And I'm like, "Because I have to. I had no choice." And then the last few years, like my car broke down, and I remember feeling so grateful because I was like, "No, I'm not going to touch it. I'm having it towed to the shop. I've got the money. I'm going to pay somebody to do what they're good at, and I'm going to do what I'm good at." And that's helping clients do this.
Good for you. Good for you.
Oh, yeah, such a wonderful feeling.
It really is. It really is. And here's the thing too. This is like the test on whether you should be doing it or if somebody else should be doing it. Just like what would you like your hourly rate to be? Like how much, do you want to be paid per hour? Like what would, like for me, if I create, course or a hypnotherapy CD download, like that hour that I spend recording that, I mean, I could make, tens of thousands of dollars on that one recording. So that hour is, it could be, it could be broken down to that hour could be worth $10,000
Right.
over the years. The more I'm able to actually sit down and do that. So am I going to hesitate to pay somebody $50 to do something that, and that's like maybe the threshold of what it is. Like, maybe you're not able to obviously recreate $10,000 every hour of every day.
Right.
So that's,
Right.
it's a little unrealistic to use that as your
Yeah.
threshold. But what is your threshold? Is it $10? Like if you're doing labor that you could pay somebody $10 an hour to do, then you know what you're doing? You're diminishing your worth to $10 an hour. And I've had that fight with myself multiple times this week.
Yeah. Oh, this week.
This week, because of the video editing, and it's like, I'm just going to sit down and do this myself, and I've resisted it. I'm like, no, like I've got to I'm going, if I just keep doing that, I'm never gonna, get it done. I'm never going to get where I really want to go in life if I just do everything myself. So, occasionally, you have those little frustrations where, it doesn't seem like you can find the right person or whatever. And you just have to kind of realize, okay, well, I can get this done for $10 an hour. And if I do it myself, then I'm saying I'm worth $10 an hour. So I'm not going to do that. I refuse, been tempted, but I'm not going to do it.
I think the other thing too is, and this is what I just learned because I'm taking Richard Nongard's book writing class, write a book in 12 weeks. Highly recommend it out there.
I've heard that's really good.
Well, it's so good. If you've ever wanted to write a book, please take the class, 12weekbook.com, I believe it is. It's unbelievable. It's just so well done. But what he talks about is very, very first or second week, go get a cover made and pay someone to do it. So don't try to make your own. And we see when the people that try to make their own and they post it in the Facebook group and it looks awful and they're happy with it. And so not only can you get that done for maybe $20, $50 or something, but it's going to be a good quality. It's going to be much better quality. And I see that all the time in the group.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, my same graphic designer, she's designed all my books. And I mean, I can't tell you how many compliments I get on the covers of my books. And there's no way I would have designed these exactly that way. And, and there's no, I just, I absolutely agree. I mean, just, it's so worth it to pay a professional to do these things for you.
Plus, you have to learn something. I was trying to, for the longest time, I was trying to fix my audios. I was trying to do the audio engineering myself. And so I'm trying to learn this software, and I bought some. And finally, I just said, forget it. I can't. Why? I can pay somebody to do this and to save me the frustration. They're a pro at it. Let me do what I'm good at. Let them do what they're good at.
Yeah. And, for me, I call that in my book, actually, I don't know if you've come to that part of the book in the manifesting conditions, but I call what we're talking about here the high vibe makeover. And the high vibe makeover is when you catch yourself, doing things in your day that you feel like you have to do, or those must do's. And so when you catch yourself in those things, you find a way to do and spend your time doing more of what you want to do. What do I want to do more of? And what do I want to do less of? And the two need to kind of balance themselves out. You got to have something to replace that with, because nature abhors a vacuum. And so, if you just offload something, but you don't actually replace it with something that you enjoy doing, then you'll just find some other. It's almost like a bad habit, if you quit a bad habit, you'll find another bad habit to replace it with. So if you offload, so that's my contribution to that is that, if you really want to raise your vibration, you want to find more things that you enjoy doing, or even just, I want to spend an extra hour writing every day. I want to write a new book, or I want to, what would you be doing if you had more time? And then do more of that and do less of the thing that you don't like. It's a simple concept, but it's the putting it into practice is the challenge.
I liked what you said too about doing what you like to do, because, this person that designs this book, they probably like doing this work, right?
Yes.
The audio engineer likes doing that kind of work. The person that can make your whatever, they like doing that work and they're good at it. So you're really taking the opportunity away from them, and you're trying to do it, and you're not going to do as good a job. And I really.
It's so true. It's so true.
Yeah.
And I think that, everyone ultimately, if we all just sort of shifted into doing whatever we wanted to do, I think all the jobs, everybody would be happy. Everybody would be satisfied. Even the people that work at what we think are totally undesirable jobs. Maybe people actually like cleaning toilets. I don't know. It's hard to imagine liking to clean a toilet, but I think, there are people that like to do that, and so pay somebody to do the things, even if, they seem like somebody wouldn't like to do them. They're doing what they like to do. I have to believe that at some level, somebody would like to do that.
Well, I'll tell you, it's funny you say that, because I actually have a family member, who literally loves to clean, to clean.
See?
Worked as a housekeeper, loved it, loved doing it. And I was just like, you don't want to do something else? No, I really love doing this. And, most of us hate it, but there are people, like you said, there are people that like to do that kind of a thing. So yeah, let them do what they're good at. You do what you're good at.
Exactly.
Victoria, we're getting. I want to move on in just a moment, but before we move on to the other segment, because we're gonna do a what's it called, listener question, just one this time, and we're gonna do the 3 tips for living a more awesome life, and then of course, friend or frenemy. I'm afraid. I'm afraid to find out, because there's so many frenemies out there. I just hope. So there was this one thing too that I loved about, and I can't remember where, I think this is where it was, and giving is an inspired action. Yeah. Here on 158 in the book. Yeah. I got to tell you, I love this, because I remember there was this, I had a Facebook follower who started this group, and it was something like Millionaire Manifestor or something, and would always share these posts that said, I'm manifesting $1 million. And I always hear this too, the people that are the Law of Attraction folks that go, I'm so happy and grateful now that I have $1 million. And I'm like, I feel like you're stopping. You need to complete that whole thought is, I'm manifesting $1 million because I'm helping 1 million people, or I'm giving so much back to the world. And it seemed like you kind of touch on that right there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the things that I have people do in the book is to create what's called a desire, intention, and gratitude statement. But in the intention part, so you got the desire where, I have you go through all these exercises to get to that specific sentence that's your desire. But the intention part, that's where I really touch a lot on giving. What am I doing? What kind of energy am I putting out into the universe? Because there's no such thing as something for nothing. And we think that there is. Sometimes we think that, we can get things for nothing. But, to me, I think the universe kind of has a way of balancing things out. So I like to know the cost up front, and I like to pay the price up front. Right? Yeah. So there's no surprises coming down the line. So giving is that form of payment in a way, if you will. So it's the service that you render. And if you render enough service to mankind, the universe will pay you back in kind. For me, like say the intention, the act of giving these days is, I'm making daily YouTube videos, and like, nobody has to pay for these. These are completely free, but this is my gift to the universe, or to the world, to people. That's what I'm doing. That's my intention every day. That's my gift. There's a lot of free content, that I give through my apps and through my website, and so every day I'm taking daily action, the action being giving something to the world, putting something out there, and it always, it comes back. It finds its way back to you. If you do what you love, the money will follow. It's like, it's one of those old axioms, but it's still, to me, it rings every bit as much true. True. I think you can do anything you want and find a way to be, paid for it.
I'm reminded of one of my favorite quotes by Zig Ziglar. You can have everything you want in life if you'll just help enough other people get what they want. Love that.
Yeah. That's essentially the same. I love that quote too. It's we're saying the same things. And so it's like, what service are you going to provide that service? Don't wait. You don't have to wait to be paid for it. The universe will figure out.
Oh, that's great. You don't have to wait to get paid for it. I love that. That was awesome. That was an awesome one. Yeah.
Yeah, like just surprise things happen when you're doing good things in the world. All of a sudden you'll just you'll get a check in the mail, or you'll get a new client that you weren't expecting, or you'll get a big order, or something will happen, and you just have to kind of trust that but you got to do it from your pure heart. You can't well, I'm going to give this, but I better get it back.
Gotta get something back. Yeah.
You gotta let it go, give and let it give unconditionally. You gotta let it go. It's like, don't tell them how to spend that gift, gift, let them have it. And a lot of times the way that you get paid isn't from the same place that you gave the gift.
Right. Good point. So, I mean, instead of just sitting on your, sitting on your little meditation pillow and trying to manifest $1 million, think about maybe what kind of service you can provide, or gifts that you can offer to the world in return for the universe's gifts. And I got to say too, and I'm sure this happens for you too, sometimes those gifts you get back are just people telling you thank you. You get a DM, and somebody says, thank you so much for that recording that you did, or that concept really changed the way I think about things. It's really, really awesome. So, hey, I'm going to be.
That's the best gift of all, is like when people leave, beautiful reviews on my app, or my book, or any of my products, or even just a nice comment on my YouTube video. Like, that's just, that is a gift back to me.
Yeah. And you know what? And that's a great reminder too. If you're out there and you're consuming this content and you are getting the gift that the creator is giving you, please give them a like, give them a heart, give them a comment. I mean, I love comments almost as much as I love dollars. So,
yes. Absolutely.
So
oh my God, that's such a good reminder.
Yeah. Just a little, hey, thanks for this or something. I mean, it just, I feel, I'm likely to go show my wife, hey, look, somebody liked that video I did. So we can really make our day. So, hey, I just want to take, so where you can find some of Victoria's really awesome free content is on Instagram.com, Victoria M. Gallagher, username, on YouTube, Hip Talk, very easy, HYPTALK. She has a podcast. She interviews people all the time. She posts some meditations, hypnosis. She does some fun stuff over on TikTok, LOA Hypnotist, and on Clubhouse. Are you liking Clubhouse?
I am. I'm right now working my way back into what I'm going to do there. I got an idea yesterday that I'm going to do morning meditations every morning on, it's like, there's, so it's good for the conversation and stuff like that. But I just feel like that's not exactly, I don't fit into that necessarily. I kind of do, but, I heard this other creator on there, Global or whatever his name is. He plays these really inspiring audios, and it's just him. He's the only one that's on the stage. Everybody else is just listening. And that's what I want to do. I want to be the one on stage. I just want to be the only one on stage and everybody else listening.
Right.
So I'm going to do my, probably my inspiring morning meditations, so yeah, that's going to be my contribution to Clubhouse.
Nice. And that's LOA Hypnotist. I'm still afraid to go on there. I log in there and I listen to some stuff, but I'm still afraid to actually jump out there. I haven't figured out what I.
Oh yeah, I saw you hit up a room I was in the other day. I said hi to you. Well,
so if you're listening now, this is going to be posted next Tuesday. I believe the Friday following that Tuesday, I'm going to be doing a thing called Talk Time with Jim, and you can just come in the room and you can ask questions about hypnosis or your life journey, that kind of stuff. I'm going to see. I always kind of want to be a Dear Abby, so I thought it'd be kind of fun to maybe use it for that. I don't know. We'll see.
I love it. That's a great idea.
So something else, this HypnoCloud, I'm serious, go download this because there's a bunch of free recordings on there that you can listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then and it's like $10 a month for all of them, right? 500, I think.
It's a ridiculously low amount of money. Yeah. I mean, the things that people spend $10 a month on, right? Netflix, cigarettes. Well, it's like $10 a day on cigarettes.
Right.
So much, but it's ridiculously low price to get access to tens of thousands of dollars worth of my content.
Right. And for instance, you could easily spend $20 just on one recording. And this is, you've got 500 to choose from. Crazy. And very well produced. Victoria has a great voice. And of course, her books, any one of her books. I'm going to do a little behind the scenes here. So if you see me videoing, I'm doing a behind the scenes for TikTok. So we'll post that a little bit later.
I'll make sure I'm not making any weird faces.
So you got ways to get a hold of Victoria. So now we're going to be talking about the 3 tips for living an awesome life, and we're going to play Friend or Frenemy. Stay tuned. I do want to let you know too, if you want to get regular updates about the show or anything else that I'm doing, where I'm going to be appearing next. I'm doing shows in Seattle, Phoenix, all over the country. You can text the word awesome to 480-405-0849. That'll be written on the screen later. 480-405-0849. Of course, if you're just listening, then you won't be able to see it on the screen. But okay, now's the time. Everybody prepare yourselves because Victoria is living an awesome life, and I know that she's got some great tips. I know that Victoria's got some great tips for living an awesome life. Victoria, blow us away with your 3 tips for living an awesome life.
Okay, I'm going to do my best. So my first tip is to live with integrity. And when I say integrity, I mean living according to your highest and your best self, keeping your word with yourself and your others, because when you keep your word and you are true to who you really are, then it builds trust. It builds up your subconscious, and it just allows you to really live in a confident way, and it gives your word more power. Consistency is my second tip. Consistency is the key to success, and just doing everything in a consistent way daily. You are going to see results. What you do once, you're not going to necessarily see results, but what you do over and over and over again is going to build, it's going to build that habit, and it's going to have you, leading a more successful life. And then we actually did talk about this earlier, and that was taking risks. So that's my third one, is taking risks. Get it out of your comfort zone, because, that's how you're going to grow. And you, in order to have something that you, different that you want, you got to do something different. You got to do something you've never done. And that sometimes can be uncomfortable and feel like a risk for you. So those are my 3 tips. 3.
That's awesome. Integrity, consistency, and take risks. For God's sakes, take risks. Okay. Perhaps the most important question we've asked all day long today. The most important question you've ever been asked on any podcast or anything. Victoria, do you like pineapple on pizza?
All right. Can I preface this with?
Oh, I don't like where this is going. Victoria, but yeah, you go ahead.
Well, it's been like 2 years since I've even had a pizza, so I don't even remember what it tastes like. But that being said, yes. I'm more of a spicy gal than a sweet gal. So especially when it comes to hot food, and I do like my pizza hot, and I like it spicy, which means no pineapple.
Yes! Finally! High five, Victoria. Right. Exactly. Please. Pineapple is fine.
Do not put pineapple on the pizza.
Please. This is from the LOA hypnotist herself. If you want to live a more awesome life, that's probably job number one. No pineapple on pizza.
Look, you got to have integrity, like with yourself.
Integrity. And be consistent with that integrity.
Preserve the integrity of the pizza. For crying out loud.
and take a risk in everybody else hating you because you don't have the taste buds of a junkyard dog. So all right. So we're going to wrap it up now. Victoria, it has been such a pleasure talking to you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This has been fun. This is like probably one of the funnest podcasts I've been on in a long time. So thank you so much for having me. I'm just, we could go on and on forever, and you're a great conversationalist.
Yes, thank you. So are you. And really, we could just go on and on. I do want to just let you all know. Oh, also, I'm going to tell you, if you're a hypnotist out there, if Victoria is ever speaking at a conference and you go to it, take her class. No kidding. She teaches the best classes. She taught a class on passive income, and it had like just the whole everything, and it's amazing, all the information you need. And follow her on all of her channels. She's on Victoria Gallagher on Instagram, Hip Talk on YouTube, LOA Hypnotist on TikTok, and LOA Hypnotist on Clubhouse. So if you want to get on those morning meditations, get over to Clubhouse. Are they still doing by invite only on that?
No, I think they've just opened it up. I think anybody can join now. I think. Okay. It's on Android, and they're just
I think so.
Going wild now.
If you're out there and you're one of those poor saps that has not been invited to Clubhouse, just text me 480-405-0849. I will personally send you an invite, but I don't think you need it anymore. But anyway, again, thank you so much for watching the show. I'm so glad that I have a friend, not a frenemy. And
me too.
Check out the book. Get the book. At least download this app here and check out the free recordings. It's free. Again, free. Thank you, everybody, so much. Take care. Be well. Be awesome.
Be awesome. Thank you so much, Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Exploring Awesome. Please take a moment to subscribe and give us a 5-star rating if you enjoyed the show. And visit exploringawesome.com to find more tips for an awesome life and get your free hypnosis download.